Democracy!
Good morning and welcome to the vlog. It is election week here on campus. So there are a number of student positions like student president, VP for activities and for postgrads and stuff. And this is the week where people campaign to get you to vote for them, which means it's awful. I don't like having people I don't know come up to me and just start talking to me, right? So because I've been ill, I haven't really had a chance to do any work, but I did do a bit of coding over the weekend when I was feeling a bit better, and this morning basically I was going through what I've written, correcting a few little mistakes, and then running something over lunchtime. What I'm doing is testing all the assumptions in my thesis, and at the moment I'm not feeling quite so confident. I've yet to run the proper statistics on it, but we'll see how good of an assumption it is. Now normally, election week is my least favourite week of the year. I hate it, I absolutely hate it. But this year, I have a secret weapon. Armed with a campaign t-shirt, no one is going to want to approach me, which means nobody's going to try and give me a flyer. At least that's the idea. This is amazing. Nobody even wants to make eye contact with me. I should wear one of these all the time. I was looking around for you, I didn't see you down here.
Hello.
This is amazing. Before I had to be really worried about the routes I'd take through campus to avoid having to talk to anyone. Now I'm walking around like a bee-knock. Except no one wants to make eye contact with me. So I just got handed a free copy of the student newspaper. Now normally, very cleverly, this is called Expose, but it's, oh, you see what they've done there? Exeter is an incredibly punnable name. My favourite being a football club in one of the leagues that's called Exeter Gently. So it's 6:30, I've just finished work and I am back in the music practice rooms because there's a lot of music happening this week. Chapel Choir is singing 2 services this week, which isn't that uncommon. We are singing an evensong and we're singing a compline. However, each of those services are interesting in their own right this week because the evensong we're singing in Exeter Cathedral, which is an experience, and secondly, the compline is all in Russian. Singing in the cathedral is a lot more difficult than singing in the chapel because the cathedral has an acoustic that means you can't really hear anybody if you're actually sitting in the choir. It's kind of annoying. So you really need to know the music like the back of your hand. And we are doing some rather difficult music, like the Magnificat Quintitoni. This stuff, however, I'm not overly concerned about. It's the Russian. Russian choral music is notoriously low. Now, typically as a bass, you're expected to sing down to a G, which is kind of the lower limit for a lot of people's voices. Sometimes you're called on to do an F, but that's kind of it. In the Rachmaninoff that we're singing on Sunday, the Nunc Dimittis from his Vespers, we're required to sing a B flat. There's only one person in the choir that can really do that, two kind of, and one of them's me. So this week is all about that bass and all about trying to extend my lower range. So I need to do a lot of very croaky singing. I, however, still sound terrible, so to save you from some of my embarrassing singing, I'm going to share this little clip with you I found, part of a concerto for choir and basso profundo. This gives you some idea of what Russian choral music sounds like. think we maybe had too many books. Okay, so I just got home and Dan's parents are down and they are helping rebuild our house because basically we need more storage space. So I just came in and they've completely rearranged the living room to put more shelves in. Now, they've offered to take me out for dinner, which is very kind of them, but that leaves me with about an hour where I can't do anything terribly productive, so I've decided I'm going to try and go for a slightly longer run than normal. Wish me luck. Okay, so I'm just walking this off. That's the first I've ever run on my Strava. Apparently it was only like 6k, but it definitely felt longer than that. It felt like 8. Oh, that might well be the best or one of the best runs of my life. That felt awesome. It also fulfilled the secondary goal of the run, which is to burn enough calories that I can have a decent meal tonight. So we just got back from a thoroughly pleasant meal at Harry's, which is probably one of the nicest restaurants in Exeter at the very least. Dan's mum has confirmed herself has got it going on because our bathroom is like, it's so clean. It's never ever been this clean. You didn't even ask her to clean the bathroom. Yeah. She just did it. She just upped and did it. And similarly, we just got taken out for a really nice dinner. So thank you very much for the bathroom and the dinner, Dan's parents. If you're wondering about this thing you might have seen in the background, I'll tell you about this later in the week. Now I want to really quickly just edit together the days of the vlog so far and then I'm going to get some sleep because tomorrow is a big day. So today is February 14th, which of course means it's Valentine's Day, which partly explains why I have a little rose sticking out my bag like a conning tower. It's currently about 8:30. I am not actually heading to the office because Liv said that I'm not allowed to spend any money on her because screw traditional gender roles, basically I shouldn't have to spend lots of money. So I didn't spend lots of money, I spent a tiny bit of money, sorry, and I'm surprising her. Look at that desk. It's like Lucy Moon lives here. It's gonna get better. I just walked straight past, like campaigners, like 4 different people. Nobody paid me any attention. I feel like Harry Potter in the invisibility cloak. I am a bit worried though that I might be going a little bit drunk with power. Like, I accidentally made eye contact with someone and they like shied away. Oh, power.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable.
You just know that some poor girl had a really, really bad time this morning. Ouch. So I've come out on the soggy, foggy balcony of my building to do 2 things. 1, I need to reassure you that I'm smart and I know what I'm doing, and then 2, I'm going to tell you how I've just made a massive mistake. So firstly, I want to talk about the science that I'm doing. Yesterday, I mentioned the fact that I was testing an assumption that we're making in our code. Now the assumption that I'm talking about is hydrostasis, or that the fluid we're looking at, the atmosphere, obeys the hydrostatic equation. Now this is a pretty simple formula. It's one of the most widely used formula in kind of atmospheric dynamics, and it basically tells you that the rate of change of pressure as you go up depends on the density field, and you can actually derive it very easily if you just imagine like 2 pressure surfaces that are separated some distance dz or delta z apart, and they're labelled, you know, with pressure 2 on the upper surface, pressure 1 on the lower surface. Between them there's a fluid which has got some density rho. Density is just the amount of mass per unit volume. Now let's say we were interested in trying to relate those kind of quantities. What you can say is that the pressure acting on the bottom surface is going to be the same as the pressure that's acting on the top surface, whatever that is, plus the product of the density, the distance between the 2 surfaces, which is delta z, and then g, the acceleration due to gravity, because you have to remember that force, you get a force by multiplying a mass by an acceleration, F equals ma. If you do that, then you can rearrange it such that you get the finite difference form of the differential version, which is the one that I showed you at the beginning. Now this is known to be a very good assumption for the whole atmosphere, and I've tested it and shown that to be the case. You know, banging. But we don't know if it applies to our case, because we're looking at pressure anomalies, not overall pressure. We're looking at like differences from what you'd expect in the pressure over a whole area. So it's not guaranteed that the assumption would be good. And I wrote some code to test that. And yesterday I said that I wasn't too confident. I've discovered why it wasn't looking so good, because I was using the wrong data. There's loads of different ways that you can refer to like surface temperature, and I was using sea surface temperature because I forgot that water is a different temperature to land. Well done, Simon. So instead of downloading SSTs, I have now downloaded 2 meter temperatures, which is like a 2 gigabyte data set it's currently downloading. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to make a bit more sense when I put it into the code, and this assumption will actually be just fine. So this year for Valentine's Day, Liv and I were thinking of going out for a meal, but everywhere we looked, by the time we actually agreed to do something for it, was booked out. So we've got one of these fancy marked M&S meal deals. We're going to have a couple tonight. I've got her a little surprise. And I think we're going to try and answer some of the questions that you guys have asked on Twitter about uni and relationships. Mary's Little World's asked, how do you deal with the workload you have whilst maintaining a good relationship? Does it ever get in the way? It's all about balance, really. I mean, the relationship doesn't get in the way as long as you kind of allocate time just for that, and then you allocate everything else for doing your work. Keeping relationship to the evenings, generally, and then like having lunch together and stuff, I find like keeps them nice and separate. It is very possible that one can get in the way of the other, but I feel like we've kind of managed to get to, it's taken a while to get a pretty good balance, because for one thing, we were a long distance couple for a year before this year, so it took a bit of an adjustment, but I feel like you just establish boundaries, really. Serato's asked, what's the most fun V-Day you've had in college? I'm not just saying this because Liv is there. It might actually be today. The other ones I just can't remember that well. Last year I sent you a shoebox full of English things because Liv was in Madrid, and it was like Marmite, Cadbury's. There was wine. That was it. It was like a Valentine's kit for you could have a date by yourself. There was like a little wine bottle and stuff like that, and like a Lush. There was like a Lush thing.
It was awesome.
Penny's asked, have you got a favourite rom-com? Does Mean Girls count as a rom-com?
Yeah.
Mean Girls. Well, what? Like, I mean, like.
I was about to say The Fault in Our Stars. That's definitely
That's not a rom-com. Sick Boys asked, what is love? Baby don't hurt me no more. Oh, happy little bird
Why
there.
have you got a book on reading the hieroglyphics?
I wanted to learn hieroglyphics. Keith's asked, why is it so difficult to ask someone out? I am the worst person to ask for this, because I've only asked one person out, and we were basically in a relationship at that point anyway. I still have yet to properly ask you out.
Yeah, you're not actually my boyfriend, sorry.
We're Facebook official. I think it's difficult to ask somebody out to seriously answer the question, because you're afraid of, so you're putting yourself out there and afraid of being rejected. It's a lot like a lot of other anxieties, I think. And similar to advice I gave, I think in the last vlog, I think you just got to say balls to it and just try, because if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Charlie's asked, any ideas for celebrating Valentine's Day in a long distance relationship? So we did the whole I sent you a date
Marmite.
Care package. Marmite is the key.
Yeah, Marmite's key.
I mean, what we kind of did was, what we did later in the year was we did an Airbnb. We met in Nice, which was, I thought, halfway between Spain and Exeter. We got an Airbnb and we hung out in the city for like a couple of days, and it was just really chill. It was really, really nice, and I feel like that would have been the perfect thing to do for Valentine's if it had worked out that way. Caitlin's asked, me and my boyfriend are going to different unis, will it change our outlook on each other too much? This is a really prickly subject, because there are no hard and fast rules that apply to everybody. My personal opinion is that if you're in a relationship in school and you're going to different universities, it generally doesn't work out. Just sort of from experience and from seeing other friends doing it, I personally wish that I hadn't carried my relationship from school on to university, which is something that my ex actually agrees with, interestingly. I'm not just being horrible.
I was going to say, you can't say that.
But I mean, that's only my personal experience. It's just happened to be that for my friendship group and for me, it didn't work out. I think the important thing to do is to give each other enough space when you are at different universities. Stay in contact, obviously, and maybe not talk every day, but certainly talk several times a week, see each other as frequently as you can, but allow each other to develop friendship groups, because I feel like one of the problems that I had at Oxford was it was almost like holding to the rigging really fast in a storm, and I didn't like let go when the storm was past, and I was just like clinging on to the relationship when actually I was missing out on making friendships and having my own social group, which was damaging. So I feel like you've kind of got to like not let go, but you've got to give each other enough space. Darius has asked, what's the best/worst love story you've heard?
Ours. Worst.
And the force is with me, I am one with the force and the force is with me, I am one. That was a close call. I didn't even have my t-shirt on. Somehow made it out alive. So today I've accomplished almost impressively little between having a line after Valentine's Day and having to go to the cathedral early for evensong. Just haven't been able to do very much really. Continue to test this approximation. There's one, it's looking a lot better now, but there's one data point, there's a surface which is still, doesn't really make a lot of sense. So fixing that, and then tomorrow I'll be moving on to the next stage of kind of like proving what we're doing makes sense. Now though, it's time for me to head to the cathedral to sing evensong there with the University Chapel Choir. So the service went fine. Right, so this actually harks back to what I said before. I mentioned on Monday, I think, that it's much more difficult to sing in the cathedral because you can't hear other people. You can't hear what other parts are doing. It's a weird effect where if you're actually sat in the congregation or in the audience, you can hear everything fine. But in the choir, and that's Q-U-I-R-E, like actually sat where the choir sits, it's very difficult to hear anything other than your part. So the bass ones thought, well, that service went pretty great. And apparently a few other parts messed up. All I can say is that for us, it sounded fine. The cathedral is a really interesting building. I'd love to do a video about its history. It was founded in 1400 AD. Which means it's not the oldest or the biggest cathedral in the country by a long way, but it is a world record holder in that it is the longest continuous nave, like the middle bit, because it doesn't have a tower in the middle, it has a tower on either side, so that nave goes right the way down for 96 meters. But like I said last vlog, I love this choir to bits, and when I graduate, I am really gonna miss it. Okay, I might have made a mistake. So last night I got back, I did talk to you about the evensong and ate, and then I was like, I'll just do a bit of editing. Just, you know, I'm working on the brain chemistry video, it's nearly finished. I emailed some questions to the scientist who I interviewed, and I was doing some animating, and I thought, let's just sort of grind it out. Unfortunately, I then stopped at like 3 AM. This is where things come back to the work-life balance, and also the work-work balance, because it's like I'm doing 2 jobs.
Simon, are you up?
Yeah!
You want to check the chat?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm spinning lies like a mad thing.
Thanks, mate.
Right, no
Oh my god, what's my head in? Dan has convinced the people in our group chat that I drank an entire bottle of whiskey last night, which is so much less embarrassing than the actual truth. I was editing Atoms until 3 AM. If I'm being honest, I don't often let the YouTube get in the way, genuinely. I think I'm pretty good. But last night, yeah, that was definitely, the needle swayed too far one way. Well, I was just caught singing, just sort of walking through a corridor, turned around a corner and there was a guy. I mean, he said it sounded nice, so. So this afternoon, like I said yesterday, I was kind of clearing up what I've been doing for the past couple of days, but one of the reasons I've been doing this is because I've been skirting around one of the big issues, which is the assumed equivalence of two techniques. Basically when I talk about mass fluxes, I'm talking about the actual weight, the mass of air that is moving from out of the polar regions into the polar regions. And our way of calculating that is definitely wrong. Oh, hello! Hello, Bella.
Hi, Simon's followers.
Now, that method being wrong isn't actually that big of a problem. Funnily enough, being wrong is something of a specialty of mine. It's the fact that I don't actually know how to even approach trying to fix it. So, two other bits of news. One, my man flu's come back, so I feel terrible. But two, I just made the terrible mistake of voicing my true opinions about something on Twitter, which is that tea is weird and disgusting. I don't do hot drinks. I don't drink tea or coffee or hot chocolate. And to me, people that drink tea are really weird because it's a foul substance, alright? And this is going to cause a real storm in the comments. I know. I don't care, because I know I'm right. Tea's really weird, alright?
Yeah, okay.
So Liv and I are just on the way to Chapel Choir, and there's this mural up, which is the #NeverOK campaign, which is all about ending sexual abuse on campus and how it's never okay to do it. However, so you know that there are lots of signatories, right? There are lots and lots of people and clubs. For example, like Exeter University Women's Rugby Football Club. However, I've only just noticed apparently Jimmy Savile is at this university and thinks it's never okay. It's a bit late, I think.
I did not see that.
Apparently the guild didn't either.
For some reason, I wasn't even thinking it, just knew I was angry and I just went. That's my dad. Nice. That's going in, I hope you realise. This part, I think it goes, the evening hangs beneath the moon. Or something. It's, I mean, you're a tenor, bless you. Oh, sorry, there's 3 flats.
So we're about to record another piece. We're starting doing this every week where we just record one of the things that we've learnt. And this time around it's some stuff by Eric Whitacre. Okay, so I think I'm being very stupid, but I kind of as a rule never let that stop me from doing stuff that I need to do. So last night I came down sick in a big way. I was physically shaking. I was freezing even though the house wasn't cold. I had headache, earache, just, you know, that early onset of, that early onset stage of being ill, having a flu. I haven't had it that bad in years. So I woke up at 5:30, determined not to miss this meeting I have tomorrow. I have this today. I'm a little bit delirious. I was determined not to miss this supervision I have with both supervisors today because it's a very important one. This assumption about the mass fluxes that I've been testing this week is a really, really huge part of my thesis. It's a very important pillar. And if we don't get that working, there's no PhD. So I need to print out some graphs that I've been working on because there's lots of stuff to report in terms of progress because I haven't seen my supervisors for a couple of weeks. There's lots of stuff to talk about. I just need to print it out and talk about it and then draw up a plan of action what I want to talk about in the meeting, which I do know, everything's up here, I just need to formalise it. Then after the 10 o'clock meeting, I don't know, maybe we'll go back to bed, who knows. At least I don't have to worry about election week campaigners at this time. There are definite perks to being on campus this early.
So physically, what do you conclude?
Well, physically, the density anomalies are hydrostatically distributed in the lower atmosphere, but not quite hydrostatically distributed above 20 kilometers. Look at this carbon fiber desk. How professional. Supervision done. That actually went fine. Tom and I both talking about our theses, which are kind of coming along vaguely nicely.
Yeah, not too bad.
Also, getting out of the building from our supervisor's office involves us going through an inordinate number of doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you. 8, 9, and 10.
No financial holding, sorry. Oh, where your soul is and my heart is ripped out.
So I've come home because I cannot concentrate. Like, every time I move, I can feel my brain like sloshing around in my skull, which is really, really painful when I cough or sneeze, which I'm doing a lot of. Hang on. There's actually a story about how I acquired that lamp, which is going to come out in a vlog about what I was doing in Belfast in a couple of weeks. It's not actually long now. So basically this afternoon I am forcing myself to take a break because, as everybody's been telling me, if I rest now I'm going to get better faster and I will be able to be productive in the future, because I just can't stand being ill. I judge how good a day was by how productive I was, how many tasks I accomplished. When I'm ill, I can't do anything. I can't even edit. I'm reduced to watching Yogscast streams and feeling sorry for myself. Now, the former of those is great and I love it, but I do just struggle giving myself recovery time. My welfare is very low on my priority list, basically. So, no singing practice, no more coding, although the supervision did go okay. There's a lot to talk about next week with my second supervisor talking about the dynamics, because my statistical analysis of the data sets has thrown up something which we weren't expecting at all. It's good that we call it now rather than, a month before I submit, but yeah, a lot of work needs to be done. But not today. So this morning I've been working on editing. I've been trying to put the finishing touches to this brain chemistry video, which I realised in the last vlog I said might be out, and I'm still working on it. It's because the animation in this is actually quite, by my standards, detailed. I'm also still ill. Like, I've moved on to the coughing stage, but I'm a bit delirious still. It also allows me to mention this again. So this thing is a Rode NT1A condenser microphone. And it is a vocal microphone specifically. So when I've done stuff in the past, I've been using a shotgun microphone, like an NTG2, or I've been using a Lavalier sometimes. Me buying this represents me actually specialising audio equipment. And it's one of the last bits in my armoury. Basically, as I've been moving towards finishing the PhD and moving towards going into video production as like a full-time thing, I've been sort of gradually hoarding kit and hoarding software and learning how to do things. And this is one of the last pieces in the puzzle, because doing voiceovers is, quite an important part if you're going to do videos for other people. And also if I want to do informational videos like the brain chemistry video, I needed to have like an actually good, good sounding voiceover. So I've had my own one for quite some time, and I finally just went balls to it. I spent, again, YouTube money as I famously defined it last time, that comes from YouTube, on actually upgrading. And I'm really glad I did, because the difference is unbelievable. This thing sounds so good. If you're wondering, by the way, this is the microphone itself. This is a shock mount that stops vibrations from affecting it, and this thing is what's called a pop shield or a pop filter. So it stops what are called plosives. So if I say like p or t, I've got a muffler on the camera, so you won't be able to tell. But normally on a microphone, that you hear it as like a wall of sound. It's like a woo, because it's like a shockwave that hits the microphone. What the pop filter does is it removes that shockwave, so the sound still goes through, but the shockwave in the air is stopped. So it's absolutely essential, because when you actually do like vocal stuff, you're like here, which is what I'm going to do now, because I need to re-record a voiceover for the brain chemistry video. Don't think that I haven't been reading the comments. I apparently have been missing out my entire life as an adult on this technique that you just turn the duvet cover inside out. I'm just going to say this, guys, this seems much more confusing than my method. Alright, I can see why people do it this way, but I'm not convinced it's better. I mean, it's possible that this has given it a better distribution within the duvet, but I'm not a convert, guys.
And here we see the Deliveroo driver.
The breeding season for Deliveroo drivers has started early this year. So you join me several hours later. Earlier in the evening we have been to court to play some games.
Fictitious children looking after a person.
Mary Poppins.
You're on the right track.
Nanny McPhee, Lost in the Sea.
Yes.
Basically, a friend of mine is visiting from back home who has chosen to remain nameless for very good reasons. But we are now in Firehouse. This is somewhere I've actually mentioned before but never properly shown. This is by far my favourite pub in the world. As you can see behind me, it's just really cool, really. So this has actually got some literary history to it. This was meant to be the pub that inspired the Leaky Cauldron in Harry Potter. Though personally, this always felt like more of a Three Broomsticks kind of vibe. But I'm not J.K. Rowling, so whatever. The reason we're here is because obviously it's a very cool pub, but also it has really good pizzas. Like, this is some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life. So we are going to stay here, get bevved, and get really fat. I'll see you tomorrow.
Why is this not called Criminale?
So today we're going to go and take a walk with my friends from home to a pub, but we just discovered that last night Liv tried to fix my gorilla pod. These legs are meant to be equal. You just ram them in there. So I also wanted to talk this morning about a little bit of science, because as I mentioned at the start of the vlog, this week, today, we're doing a service where I have to sing very, very low. Now, there are various ways you can train your voice to sing low. There is also a dirty, rotten trick, which is to use a drug. The way that this drug works is that basically it artificially loosens your vocal cords, because the note that you produce basically is a combination of the air that you push over your vocal cords and the tension of those vocal cords, in simple terms. And so what the drug does is it loosens them and causes your entire voice to drop down. So this morning I sound a bit lower, and I'm very capable of hitting notes, as Liv will attest, because last night we all took in a fair bit of this drug, which is alcohol. Basically, if you're hungover, you can sing low, and it is a legitimate strategy if you're a bass in some choirs to just get smashed the day before. Oh, really? So we're at the pub and these two guys are fishing, and they've caught what looks to be the biggest fish in the entire river. Look at that! It's like 3 foot long at least. Oh no, God. You filming?
What have you just done?
So,
hang on, this is the worst lighting up. What have you two just done?
So we brought the drone with us to this pub, which is Double Locks, and which is a lovely pub just outside Exeter. We brought the drone because we wanted to get some aerial shots. Except I forgot to pack the memory card for the drone. So we just had a really fun time just showing off the drone, and my friend from home was just flying it. So not a total failure, but no footage to show for it. Because I'm an idiot.
Apart from this lovely pub.
Honestly, if you're in Exeter, come here. It is so nice.
Double Locks.
Hashtag not spawn. I let you into my house, mate. You know who you are. I said I'm not going to name you, but you know who you are. I let you stay in my room. And what do you repay me with? You come into my house. Okay, so we're about to leave for Compline, and an interesting thing's transpired, which is that 2 of our second basses are now not available. One's stuck on a train and the other is ill. So me and Peter are being moved. Normally I'm over there. Today, I am here. Because I'm a low bass. Nice job, Sarah. Nailed it. Alright, so we just sang Compline. I actually feel a bit invigorated because we made it. We actually hit the B flat in the Nundametis, which I wasn't entirely sure we were going to do. Now I tried to record it. I don't know how well it's going to come out, but apparently it sounded good in context. So yes. Other bits this week might not have gone so well, the work might not have gone so great, I might be feeling ill, but managed it. That's a victory.